buttons. Great, we're probably going to be live in a few moments. It probably takes a few moments. I'm probably already saying this into the stream. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Ridiculous Badger. I'm coming at you with something a little bit different today. I'm on with my good friend JUNKMECH from the ShowZ store Discord server, and we're here tonight to go through JUNKMECH's great photography, also his collectibles collection. So, JUNKMECH, why don't you take a moment, say hi to the people, introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I had myself muted for politeness. I'm known everywhere as JUNKMECH. You can find me on every platform, and I don't post on anything but Twitter. I just make sure to claim my name. I consider myself an amateur photographer. Take a lot of pictures. I collect a lot of stuff. Honestly, I mostly just buy things that I like. And I, stick around and post my pictures online. It's pretty low-key stuff.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. It was something like, in fact, we were just talking about this where, we added in the beginning when we added the ShowZ store Discord server, we threw in some places to post photography, and this is all JUNKMECH stuff that I'm showing right now. It's amazing. So, we noticed that some users are like really putting in a lot of effort, not just like posting like pictures of their collectibles, but really like, being photographers. So I approached JUNKMECH and I said, hey, I'd love to pick your brain a little bit about, about what you look for in figures, about how you go about, taking some of these pictures. Anything that you want to kind of share with us, like these pieces that we have coming across the screen, were they meaningful to you for like a specific reason, or was it just like aesthetically that you picked these?
It was like as far as my picture selection, it's kind of a little of both. Stuff like the photo of Fans Toys Grinder was like a big milestone one for me. I'd wanted that dude for 1,000 years and managed to get one, and then I spent a whole night just blasting through pictures, and I took that one and I was like, wow, that's my favorite photo ever. And then a lot of the other ones are mostly aesthetic. Some of them are like my very favorites in their categories, stuff like my favorite figure for MMC, that's Eris. Also that one's special because Makotron, the artist who did a lot of the character design for her, he retweeted it and gave me a bunch of compliments, which made me feel very cool. So
that's awesome. This is one of the figures that got me back into collecting. Like I remember when this dropped, it was on an April Fool's Day, and then it was like they sold it at TFCon, or it was a Planet Steel Express exclusive. And I remember that sold out, but hearing somewhere that they were going to put up more pre-orders on this, I like stalked the website every day. Magnum, what's going on, man? Long time no talk. So we're doing something a little bit different here tonight. So, this you would say is your favorite figure of all time?
I don't know if all time, but definitely my favorite that MMC has ever put out, and I sure like MMC.
I gotta say, this Heralder that you have here, also this New Age Straxus, is amazing.
Noteworthy for being the best and basically only real Straxus ever made. I went out and hunted down a Magic Square blaster just to have Heralder here cave his head in.
Dude, yeah, so that's some deep cuts. So I'd love to. What got you into collecting Transformers? Are you more like originally into the comics, or were you watching the G1 show, or did you come to it later?
Yeah, so my history started with Beast Wars. That was my original Transformers experience, was watching that on like cable in 1999 or something. And then I kind of dropped out of it as I got older. And then time passed. I was like 13, 14. Transformers 2007 dropped in 2007. And I really liked it. I thought that was a great movie. I was like, wow, this makes me think of when I was a child and buying RID 2001 figures or whatever. And then I dropped off the universe again till 2017. So I've been kind of out of the game for a long time, and then I got really into it in like 2017, and I bought an MPP-10, the Wei Jiang oversized MP10 KO. and I just went, wow, this is what Transformers are? You can buy this? I was blown away by it. And 5 years on, and now I have a frankly ridiculous amount of Transformers. I've been like buying and selling them constantly. If something doesn't click, I just blast it right back off. So I've had like a majority of all the third-party figures ever made, and I've had a lot of time to like build up my very specific taste.
That's super cool. So you mentioned a lot of things that resonate with me. Number one, that you came back to this later, and I find that people who like dipped in and then dipped out, then came back, they tend to collect whatever they think looks cool. Versus I've seen some collectors who are like hyper focused and like, no, it's not season 2 cast. I don't care about it, But I'm looking at your shelves, and you've got some amazing pieces, but they are from different franchises. Like you've got that Beast Wars shelf, and then you've got some of the trans metals, but then like you've also got like the Fans Hobby Double Agent, and then I see like you've got some Super Robot stuff and some Evo stuff. So how do you make that decision what to get?
Well, nowadays it's kind of just I think that picture looks cool. I'll just pre-order it.
Yeah.
And I mean with ShowZ, it's like constantly I just have rolling pre-orders and anything that catches my eye. But like I have a full collection of the Beast Wars Masterpiece figures. You can't tell there because I still haven't unboxed Tigatron and Black Arachnia since I moved over a year ago. They've just been sitting in the box. I'm scared to touch them because transforming them is such a nightmare. And then stuff. So I mentioned I got back into Transformers in like 2017. What that ended up turning into was me going back and reading all the IDW comics. I had a full MMC IDW collection for a long time, but just kind of parted it out over time and only had my favorite stuff left. And then I went back and I watched all of the Japanese G1 like anime, so Victory, Super God Master Force, Headmasters, because I've never been exposed to it. It's all completely new to me. And I realized that like that was really what inspired me, was a lot of the stuff that I'd never experienced before. And nowadays I just go, well, oh yeah, I remember that from that. So let's just buy it. And like that shelf constitutes most of what I have, but I have across the room another shelf with Diaclone toyetic MPs, some of which are custom. I've been decided to trick myself out and customize Fans Toys figures like a literal crazy person. And like Hoist has always been a favorite design of mine. I have the original ink box art for the Fans Toys Hoist on my wall.
Wait, I saw that. Where was that?
It's in there somewhere. I think it's going to be a little bit later because it was after everything else. And I've been big into the just original art and stuff. It's because you can buy a mass market figure, but you can't just buy one of a kind art. Once you get it, it's one of a kind. So that's been another little minor passion of mine, has been tracking down just cool and unique art. And then the anime stuff, I've been into anime forever, and now that I'm not bankrupt all the time, I buy cool, nice mecha figures and stuff. But the recurring theme is it's all robots. I don't have a single non-robot figure in here because I don't know, JUNKMECH, right? It's in the name.
I hear you, dude. You mentioned that like you're just like buying figures, and if it doesn't resonate with you, you sell them off. At what point did you take on that strategy? Because that takes a certain amount of being like, okay, I'm gonna have a lot of extra work to do, right? Because you're gonna have to sell this. I do the same thing you do. You're constantly selling. It's your queue is never cleared. When did you decide to like take that strategy?
So when I got into collecting, it was 2017, and I was living in a one-bedroom apartment with my girlfriend at the time. She's my wife now. Which goes to show that even
she saw this, and
even weirdos like us who buy exactly. No, so what happened with that is I had none of this stuff really. I had like MPP10, and that was it. And then when we moved in together and suddenly I had a lot more money, then I started buying stuff, and that didn't drive her out. Kept around. Anyway,
Well
as far as
done.
that strategy goes, we were tight for space, and like I remember I got the MMC Bruticus combiner.
Yeah.
I had like parted it out as it came out for the first issue, and I was like, I've never had a toy in front of me that was this huge. Like it's only like 17 inches tall. There's my Unicron's taller than he is, but at the time I was just like, oh my god, this is too much. And I'd spend all this time building up this set, and I was like, this is too big. I don't have room for this. And I just sold it. And then Fans Toys Astro Train came out, and I had a pre-order from Big Bad Toy Store, I want to say, back when it was like $175. I'd had it forever. And that arrived at my house, and I was like, I don't have room for this. What am I going to do with this? And I didn't even open the box. I just turned around and sold it immediately. And it's kind of just bred this desire in me to not collect things that don't specifically make me really happy. If I buy something and I look at it and I go, it almost never stays.
Yeah, I've had the same experience as you, and I'm just like recently I culled a lot of my collection back, and I just took that Mary Kwan approach. Like, if it doesn't make me smile when I'm looking at it, it's gotta go.
Exactly. And like for me specifically, if I don't ever want to photography it, if I don't ever want to take pictures of it, if I don't want to get it on my table and sit there and spend a bunch of time staring at it and rotating it and posing it and doing all this stuff, like I almost never keep it. And it just turns into this thing where just because I bought it doesn't mean I feel married to it. That's what my wife's for.
So, okay, what's the story behind the cowboy hat on the Unicron?
Yeah, it originates. So, oh god, that's a long story actually. When I was a kid, my grandpa was really he was always really into horses, and he had like a cowboy hat and always wore one, and he was like in parades on his horses and stuff, and I was like, wow, I love cowboys. Cowboys are cool. And then I got old and it dropped off. And then my grandpa died, and I went, you know what? Maybe I need to be the cowboy. So like I have a mustache. I don't have a beard or anything. I'm just the mustache man, and I like inherited a couple of his like cowboy guns and stuff like that. So I'm like kind of into that anyway. But for our wedding, me and my wife, I said, you know what would be really funny? What if we had little cowboy hats on the wedding tables, like as like a decoration? So I ordered a huge pack of like 50 of these little felt cowboy hats from Amazon, and we didn't use them. They didn't make it into the wedding. They just sat in a bag. And I've had these floating around the house, and I go, what can I use these on? And like we cut holes in one and like make the cat wear it. And I found one the other day, and I went, wait a minute. This is perfectly sized. And I just plopped it on Unicron's head, and I went, this is it. This is who is designed to wear this cowboy hat.
Did you ever watch I Think You Should Leave?
Doesn't ring a bell. I'm going to admit, all I watch anymore is like anime with my wife, and I never watch like anything else. Like people are talking about like Game of Thrones, Mandalorian. Haven't watched it.
I've started to get down that rabbit hole of anime. I just now got a trial subscription to Crunchyroll, like literally today.
It's a rabbit hole.
Yeah,
Be
that's
careful.
what I'm learning.
We watch stuff on it every night. It's hard to get away from.
So, do you collect any mainline stuff, or any like of the chunk stuff, or is it all MP scale and Legends?
So, I've bought Chug stuff. I currently have everything I own left on for sale.
Yep.
Except for the Jurassic Park T-Rex. I like did some custom chrome paint on that, and I'm like, this looks really cool, so I'm keeping that. But my experience with Chug has been buy it, play with it, just like transform it on my desk, whatever, and then immediately regret it. Immediately regret buying it. Because my standards have been elevated so much, like the new age stuff with the perfect engineering, the insane Fans Toys stuff, MMC's unbelievably intuitive transformations, like it completely has ruined mainline stuff for me.
Man, so you are like a closet baller, though. I see you've got two of the TFCon exclusive clear sets for DZEP over there?
I've had remarkable ability in getting hookups from people. Like those sets, I bought the orange boost set like when it came out because I was like, cool, I'll buy it, whatever. It's like $25. And then the blue ones, obviously, I didn't go to TFCon. I didn't get those. I've had 2 separate people send me the blue ones.
Oh, that's good.
And like for my original Optus Pexis, I managed to get somebody to give me the exclusive cracked faceplate head. I obviously don't have it anymore. I sold it after I got the other version because I liked the accessories better. But I've been very, very lucky in getting people to give me exclusive bonuses.
Nice, dude. Cool. Well, hey, you were talking about your photography earlier. I've got you sent me some pictures of your setup, which I should have opened.
That's it. It's very, very basic.
Okay. So I don't know. Listen, you're talking to somebody who has no experience with this. Can you talk a little bit about your setup and the camera that you use?
Yeah, happily. I've been using mostly the same set forever. On that photo there, you can see my backdrop, which is some X2 Toys wall tiles. They're like orange, and they're like interlocking plates. I bought like one set 1,000 years ago, and I realized it wasn't tall enough. Like it would cut off at the top of the frame for taller figures. Also, you can see my sharpener robot Barsard over there in the corner, which
What
is
is that?
It's like a pencil sharpener that is also a robot.
Shut up! That's awesome.
I like saw it on eBay one day and bought it for like $2, and I was like, "This is very funny."
Is this licensed?
No, it's original, but it's by like some big toy company. I don't remember. It's by Diamond Solar. Who made this? Oh, it was Gawkin, who did a bunch of vintage, highly regarded and ludicrously expensive super robot toys. But so the background was just this orange tile set, and I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then one day I was like, you know what? I want this to be gray, not bright orange. So I spray primered the whole thing gray. And I was like, cool. There's a couple pictures still floating around where it's the all gray background. And I went, this is boring. So whenever I do model kit painting stuff, which we don't need to address here because that's a whole rabbit hole. But whenever I do model kit painting, I lean very heavily into the weathering. I'll like drill holes into it, and I'll Dremel the surface so it's rougher, and then I'll paint all that up and whatever. I go insane with it. It's my trademark, is the JUNKMECH, right? But I painted that whole tile set just so it would be a little more visually dynamic. And then the lights are a pair of cheap USB lights from Amazon that I've been using for like 4 years.
Dude, that's awesome, man. So, like, how much, like, if you take out the custom piece here that you did, how much is your setup? If you don't want to share, that's okay, but is it accessible, like, for someone who just wants to get into it?
Yeah, I didn't even touch on the camera. So the lighting and the background, like, the X2 tiles are the most expensive part by a ridiculous margin now. They got really rare when X2 Toys dissolved into the ether like 3Ps do. And I think a set now is like $80 for just a single bag of the orange background tiles. So like technically that's ludicrously expensive, like $160, and is absolutely not worth it. You could buy anything else for that price. As for the camera, which is a Nikon, I kind of wish I'd gone for Canon back in the day, but it's all the same. I use a Nikon D5200, which is my second camera body. My original was a 4800, I want to say. This one has a flip out screen is the big difference. And that won't be that bad without any accessories, maybe $250. Kind of expensive, but camera bodies and like lenses are the biggest money sink I've ever seen in my life. You can spend $1,200, $3,000 on a lens if you want. And then the lens I use is a Nikon 55 to 200 millimeter autofocus lens, which I don't use autofocus. One thing that I've learned with photography is manual focus, especially with toys and stuff, is really how you get them to pop, because you can manipulate the depth of field and you really get the subject to glow in your frame. And the lens is cheap. I'm talking like $120, which for lenses, nothing. That is bottom of the barrel. You can buy them used for $50. Really, you could buy any. I mean, if you wanted my exact equivalent setup, you could buy any 4K static image camera body. It doesn't have to be the one I use specifically because I just wanted the flip out screen. And you could buy a used lens for $40. You could get into a DSLR body and a manual focus lens for like $120 if you're willing to buy used.
Cool.
Which is really accessible.
Yeah, that's really accessible. So do you have any advice for people looking to like up their photography game when they're taking pictures of their stuff?
Yeah, what I've learned, and this applies regardless of what you're using, you can use a cell phone. I mean, modern high-end, you spend $1,200 on a cell phone, you've got a camera in that thing that's as good as like, you could spend $800 and barely have a camera as high quality, realistically speaking. But the big selling point for actual like static photography is lighting. Nothing matters like lighting matters. If your photos are dim and not well lit, it will never look good. You could have a really nice backdrop, you could have a great figure, you could have a great angle, but if you're just using your overhead light, it's going to be really hard to get that thing looking dynamic. As evidenced by the fact that I always use crazy colors and all this stuff. But I think if you were looking to just get into photography, I'd say use your cell phone. No problem. My trick for that is flip your phone upside down so your lens is closer to your subject. Little trick. And then just buy some cheap lights. Like get on Amazon, get anything like that, and spend $50 on some LED arrays, preferably with colors because they're a lot of fun to play around with. And you're off to the races. Like that's the big one. It's all lighting.
So you could someone could totally start by using their cell phone.
Yeah, let me interject for a second. As a cell phone photographer, amateur, sorry guys, I've been here for a minute, but I also do the upside down phone trick. So shout out to that. It is
it's
really
real.
nice.
It's not fake. I didn't make it up.
If you want to practice lighting, let's say you don't have the ability to get things right now, or like you don't want to spend money on it, or you don't want to wait for shipping. A really, 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 really ratchet trick I've been using is let's say like you close your blinds, close your door, not a lot of light in the room, and what you can do is if you have a laptop, you can Google image search a static color, and you can manipulate your laptop's brightness and angle to act as like a type of backdrop light out of the lens of the camera. It's gonna look janky, but you can practice with it to get a sense of like how to manipulate lighting as like a really basic introductory exercise. But that's just my little interjection. Go back to what you were doing.
Well, hey, and we'll say, Solus, thank you for joining us. Solus is one of the moderators on the ShowZ Store Discord server, so if you hang out, you will definitely see him around. So let's get into some nerd questions here. Okay.
Oh no.
Let's get into let's really get into it now. Favorite third-party companies?
Oh man,
Because you're
that's
spread
a loaded
across
question.
the board, man. I see it.
I know that's a loaded question. I'm gonna say the company that is my favorite to handle is a tie between Fans Hobby and MMC. That's Mastermind Creations. They make stuff that's very playable, just a lot of fun to handle. Normally they're not super painted, so they're not like the world's most beautiful pieces, but like you can pull one off the shelf and like just strike a pose real quick with it, and you're like, yeah, that looks good, that's fun. And normally their transformations aren't the world's most deathly thing. So those two are really high up. My problem with Fans Hobby specifically is sometimes I just go, the design isn't quite for me. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. They stylize their stuff, which I'm all for, but hit or miss. Naval Commander, he's pretty good. Power Baser, way too thick, dude. That dude eats too many cannolis. And then as far as other stuff goes, Transart, the guys doing the third-party Transmetal Transformers, I can't even say they're my favorite because I own almost all their stuff. I'm down like 2 releases out of everything they've released. But they have a problem with them where every single thing they release is almost almost perfect, and then it has just some crippling design flaw. Spider legs snap in half, body's too hollow, missing paint, whatever. They're not quite there, so I can't say they're my favorite. The Legends companies are New Age and Magic Square, and I have a ton of stuff from both, as evidenced by the shelves on the left completely buried in in Legends figures. I will not voice which company I prefer because that is a heck of a rabbit hole.
No, come on, do it.
Dude, Solus always does this.
Magic Square has better sculpts in general. Their stuff is cleaner looking, more heroic, which Fans Toys heavily leans into the heroic look, which I am big on. I don't necessarily need things to look like the cartoon because I didn't really watch G1. I have so much G1 stuff, and I've only watched half the episodes or something.
Okay.
It's too long. It's too long.
Yeah, it's hard to get into. If you didn't watch it as a kid, it's rough, man.
Well, I watched Beast Wars, which is like the ugliest show of all time.
Yeah, no one ever died in the first season. I felt like everyone misses all their shots in that show.
It's a whole thing as far as like media preference goes, but I think Magic Square has better sculpts, but worse transformations and horrible materials. Which New Age has great materials, fantastic engineering, some of the best in third party. Their Grimlock, like the way they engineered that is the best. There's nothing better, and I say that with Fans Toys Grinder being my favorite figure of all time. There's just so much uniqueness in their engineering, but some of their stuff isn't for me. Their car box and stuff are so squashed and weird, and my dream third party is Magic Square sculpts with New Age materials, paint, and finish. It'd be perfect. Fantastic.
We need like a fantasy football of third-party companies, is what I mean.
I mean, we basically already do, because it seems like half of every third-party company is involved with...
Yeah.
Well, Zeta Toys is involved with everybody else.
Yeah.
Everyone is Zeta in disguise.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I have a heavy bias for Fans Toys. I think they make great stuff most of the time. They're not afraid to do things that look terrible. Like their Huffer, who...
Dude, I love it.
It's great. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate it or anything. They commit to the jank, which no other company is willing to commit to the jank like that and produce stuff that's so bizarre.
I don't like
Yeah,
Huffer
exactly.
as a character, but I own that figure and I love it. It's a great figure.
If I bought it, I would have to build it a toy face, because that's what I did to Mirage and I did to Beachcomber. If you don't give me a toy head, then I have to make my own, and I don't want to do that.
I would adore that. Like, one of the reasons that I saw your G1 Perceptor. I think it's a reissue, or is that the original one?
It was just
he just
laying
lives on my
the
desk.
edge. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
just like the humble brag right there.
That is an original one, but it's a Chimera from like 3 or 4 releases. I bought like really cheap ones on eBay and then salvaged all the best parts. Yeah, exactly.
Nice, dude. The way that they hit Tesla to like knock like the toy head and everything and the toy proportions is like...
It's in there somewhere.
There
we go.
There he is.
Bro.
That was the nice thing about the arms race between X-Transbox and Fans Toys. X-Transbox goes, oh, we'll show up Fans Toys with all these accessories. Look at all these heads and stuff. And then Fans Toys goes,
we could do that too.
okay, but look at how much we include.
Oh my goodness.
And it's just like too much. But then they make weird decisions like Outrider, their Trailbreaker, no toy head. Why? Why no toy head? And I bought the X-Transbox Trailbreaker, who's kind of bad. He's old, he's kind of terrible, but he comes with a toy head. And at some point, I was hoping it would be today. I was hoping to get a really good deal on Outrider because he's still in stock in places, and I was just gonna rip that head right off of the X-Transbox torso and just Chimera it on there somehow, jam it on there, and do a bunch of paint on it to make it look right. But I've been completely lost in the toy MP thing. Not that you can tell from this picture, because they're on their own special shelf. Like I was gonna tear Cliffjumper's head apart and do a custom battle mask. It's not based on anything other than like that 3-0 toy that has the battle mask, but it looks really cool.
Well, the G1 toy had the mask.
So if I'm just gonna pull up an assumption, I can say that you enjoy the toyner, right? As a fellow toyner, I can smell you, you know.
So my original plan forever was tune accurate legends, and then toyetic MPs.
Right.
However, I got the EX Grimlock, the chrome one with the gold chest.
Yeah.
And I just went, oh, it's so much better. Oh, this is it. This is the thing for me.
Yeah.
And I've been like, I traded my Toon Optimus for the EX version. I bought the Jetfire. I'm like falling down that entire rabbit hole.
So,
yeah.
What were some of the biggest disappointments figure-wise for you?
God, where to even begin? This is a recovery story, actually. If you want to jump over to it, I think it's like your third or fourth tab. The Shin Mazinger Zero by CCS Toys. That guy right there. One of my most anticipated releases of all time. Just look at it. It's unbelievable. It's like the coolest thing ever. Yeah. And I was so stoked. I had a pre-order from ShowZ the day they showed the gray model. I paid for it. It showed up like right before Christmas. I was like, this is amazing. I'm so stoked. And I opened the box, and the ball joint. So the head is on a ball joint with an LED embedded in the bottom that then shines up into the head. The head had snapped off the ball joint in the box. So the head was just like hanging by the wires. I didn't even notice it at first. I was like, wow, the head's like weirdly loose. Yeah, go figure. And I was just like, oh, oh my God. I was like heartbroken, totally devastated. And then write it into ShowZ, wait 5 months. And CCS sends me a new body. They didn't just send the head because the ball joint was embedded in the neck. They sent me an entire torso with a whole head on it. Oh and that was able to like write that course. I just had to pull all the limbs off and stick it together. Great. Awesome. As far as other things I've been disappointed by, this is going to be the hottest take I could possibly drop. The HasLab Star Saber. Yeah. I backed it, pre-ordered it, had it in hand, and I went, wow. This thing is not great. This doesn't work for me at all. I had all these plans. Ooh, breaking things. I had all these plans. I was like, oh, he's legend scale, which he is. His core saber is the same size as a legend scale Carbot, meaning he's legend scale, which is also the case with the Make Toys Thunder Manus. Yeah. Their god Jinrai. The core robot, like the core Jinrai, is legend scale. He's the exact same height as New Age. They're 1-to-1. But I was like, oh, I have this whole plan. I'll get Fans Toys Astrotrain, the Japanese repaint. He'll be a Galaxy Shuttle. He's legend scale. He's huge, but he's legend scale. Like I had this whole thing planned out, and then I got Star Saber. I got lucky. No bad QC. Little like bump in the gold foil on one of the things, but that was it. And I like unboxed it. I put it together. I played with it for like 5 minutes, and then I just went, ugh.
It's not good. Yeah.
No, this doesn't work for me. Like I'm not gonna say it's not good because people love that thing.
Good.
I mean, up at the top, I have the Iron Trans Star Saber.
That's $180 good.
So I had that way back in the day with the original release. I purged all my MPs in a fit of idiocy, and then I bought it again. And I was like, well, why would I ever want the HasLab one when I have that? It's so much cooler. It's so much better. It loses so much more paint when you bend the legs. What's not to love?
The thing is a nightmare to transform, though.
It's
not like
okay.
Yeah,
it's okay.
It's not like Perfect Effect Transmetal 2 Megatron you got.
Oh yeah, the Zhongjing Winged Dragon. That thing's amazing. but oh my god, does it give you an arm workout. The only other noteworthy disappointment was Planet X Kakus.
Oh, Planet X mentioned in the fail column. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. And actually, I have a spare backup disappointment with Planet X, but I got that first batch, first run. Open the box, arm snapped off. Ratchet joint had sheared off in the box. Me and 100 other people. Wait 2 or 3 months. New joints show up. I reassemble the whole thing, which was really easy. To be fair, the whole body's just hollow. You unscrew the back, and the whole thing falls apart. And then I was like, okay, it works now. Let's turn it into a dinosaur. Fast forward, like 3 hours later, I'm like sweating. I'm on the verge of tears, and I finally get the legs to come together. And then I just went, okay, that's it. I'm not doing anything else with this thing. And I moved 50 miles north, and I didn't transform it back to Robot Mod to put it in the box. I just wrapped it in bubble wrap and threw it in my box of stuff. I was like, I'm not doing this. And it just sat on my shelf for, I don't know, a year, and I went, I'm never gonna touch that thing again, ever. And I sold it.
I feel that, man. That thing is, it's tough to negotiate. What about?
Well, like,
I'm sorry,
it was easy turning it back, but that first transformation was just so bad, man. It was so bad.
I got it when I pre-ordered it early, and I got like before the price was set on BBTS. It was like listed for $120. So I had a pre-order from that. So everybody else got it, and I'm like, I'm not letting go of this pre-order. No way. So I finally got mine. I loved it. I didn't have an issue with it, but then they came out with the G2 one. So I sold that, and I'm like, I need the G2 one. I bought the G2 one from ShowZ, and then like 3 weeks later, they did a 50% off sale for it.
Dude.
I know. I was seeing that. I was tempted. I was so tempted. I was like, man,
it's great.
I hate this thing, but look at it.
Look
how gorgeous it is.
I haven't transformed it. The problem with the G2 version is it comes in dinosaur mode. Like, I don't want it in dinosaur mode, so I thought I was done transforming it when I bought the new one. Then I'm like, oh, I got to do this one more time. It's not fun. What about some pre-orders that you got right now? What are your most anticipated figures? Then we'll probably cut out for the night.
Yeah, that's fine by me. As far as what I'm anticipating, I would have said New Age Omega Supreme. That's out now. But I was so excited for it, and then they said they're doing all these repaints. And I had just gotten the EX Firefox, their Jetfire, and I went, well, I'm not buying that now. I'm waiting for the repaint. So that's one I'm eagerly anticipating. Definitely looking forward to the EX flavor of Omega Supreme.
Supreme or I riot. I'm not pre-ordering until we get Omega Supreme. That is my
pink
condition.
face. I mean, New Age, nobody does repaints like New Age does.
If
it'll
anyone
happen.
would do it, they would do
Okay,
it, but it doesn't look
But
like
I gotta
they're
be
gonna
honest
do it.
though. I gotta be honest. New Age has like an aversion to like neon repaints. Like compared
They
to like
do
the
I'm not
kind
other,
of,
gonna
don't
buy
they?
it. I'm just not gonna buy
like
it.
you
I'll
get
be
stuff
okay.
like Toxitron occasionally, but like we didn't get any like goofy Mirage repaints. We got
Or like the
Diaclone.
G2 Grimlock with the tiger stripes. Still nothing.
Yeah, like we didn't get a whole bunch of like the like really like we haven't even gotten G2 Starscream yet. We haven't gotten like we got Action Master Thundercracker, but that was because it was like shattered glass. Like they're like obliged to do shattered glass.
It's
But
just not gonna enter my collection if I don't get
them passing on Scream is a very likely possibility.
I
'Cause
know,
they
I
have-
know, because
What a downer.
listings. And,
Bringing the negativity.
I just gotta hate. I just gotta be a hater. I'm
not. If they don't do Scream, that's just gonna be one that I pass on. And I gotta draw the line somewhere. I have to start somewhere, and it's with Scream.
You gotta start telling them no, man. You're gonna end up like me, where you have every release pre-ordered, and
Yup.
you're gonna run out of room.
Okay, so so that one's already out. What else are you looking forward to?
Yeah, there's the list is pretty long. Like I like to pre-order stuff. I do this thing where like on ShowZ I'll slap the $1 deposit down, and then later I'll go, never mind. Give me that $1 back. I'll just spend it on points. So I pre-order tons of stuff, but like as far as what I'm really looking forward to, there's a lot of Fans Toys releases coming up. Power Glide is really up there. He's not for a while yet. We've got Blaster next month, and the Japanese Astro Train.
Yeah.
Those are I'm reasonably looking forward to. I've never had a Fans Toys Astro Train, despite the fact that I literally owned one. I've never touched one before, so I'm looking forward to getting that. I'm kind of on the fence with Blaster. He's kind of is what he is, you know. Hit or miss. One really noteworthy one for me, though, is the Trans Art Tarantula, which is their Transmetal Tarantulas. My favorite Transmetal design is probably Tarantulas. I also I'm the one guy who really likes Primal in Transmetal 1 specifically. I hate Optimal Optimus, like the actual cartoon design.
You like the gorilla, the blue gorilla?
Yeah, give me that chrome blue gorilla, man. That was my journey into trans art was started with him. I got lucky and got the first release version instead of the weird clear plastic. But really excited for the trans art Tarantulas. Looking at it, the joints aren't ball joints for the spider legs, so hopefully we won't end up with a Black Arachnia situation where they snap in half, which would be a downer. That's a downer. But what do you do? Another one that I've been really eyeballing, like with the Megamind giant eyeball meme, is the Trojan Horse Waspinator. That I think is just out. People are just getting it, but I've not seen any reviews. I don't know a single person who's bought it. So that one I'm counting as a pre-order still. Nobody has it, so it's not out. And I'm looking forward to that one. And then like the last couple King Toys Legends.
Yeah.
Those are going to be really great. I love for mini.
Awesome. Oh,
yeah,
dude,
for $30.
Awesome. Oh yeah.
The thing that sucks with that though is it was so cheap from everyone for mini. He hooks you. He hooks you for that, and you're like, oh, it's only $25-$30. I can get that. And then every single other one's like $40, and you go.
But it's the best one. Like if you had to just get one, the mini dive bomb is the one to get, in my opinion.
Oh, he's great. He's fantastic. A friend of mine like turned him into a bird and stuck him on his monitor, and he's been there ever since. So
predatory marketing. Predatory marketing.
What's the Furmanism again?
What's that?
The what is the Furman, the comic writer, always wrote these notoriously weird lines.
Oh, Furmanism, a bird of prey, like a vast.
Yeah,
bird
he
of
has
prey.
one about.
Yeah. Yeah. Simon Furman. Yeah.
God, what is it? Bird.
Like a vast predatory bird.
Yeah.
Like some vast predatory bird. That's for mini.
I just
Micro
noticed that you've
scale.
got like this Lego custom super robot figure here.
That's from it was I think called the Super Robot Creator Kit. You could like build a couple things with it, but you could make the world's cheapest knockoff Mazinger Z.
That's awesome,
for like $25. He's a super robot. He belongs up there with all the other stuff that I haven't unboxed yet because I'm too busy opening new stuff. I never opened the old stuff because I already opened it and boxed it up. I'm opening the new things now.
That is a problem I wish I had.
Well, hey,
I wish I didn't have it.
Yeah, we could talk forever about that problem.
The grass is always greener. Grass is always greener.
Yeah,
Grass
exactly.
is always greener.
Yeah, you don't want someone else's problems. You want your problems.
Before we I was gonna ask, since this is a ShowZ sponsored thing, what's your best experience with ShowZ, or your favorite thing you've bought from them, or just anything like that, or your best deal, I guess?
Well, best deal would have been that last community milestone, 50% off. I have the one of the X-Transbots Junkions. I think it's on the shelf with Sunstreaker and them. He was writing it for a long time, but I had one of the first batch with the faceplate. I don't remember his name. And it sucks. It's not great. It looks pretty good, but the tolerances are terrible. The arms are loose and pop off because it's made to be modular because it's a Junkion. So I was like, this thing kind of sucks, but like I really like it. It has a faceplate, which I always prefer. It's a motorcycle. I am motorcycle man. My most expensive toy, by the way, if you want to know, is a $12,000 motorcycle I didn't need. Um, but I thought that thing was terrible. And then there was the second batch with Psykill and them, and those went on the community sale. And I bought Sanford. He's the other one with the faceplate. He looks really cool. Great, fantastic. All the tolerances are perfect. It looks cool. It looks cooler. The colors are better. The accessories are better. And I got it for like $40. That's probably the best deal I've ever gotten with ShowZ, other than like buying stuff with points. That you can really get lucky with some of those, and like I won like 500 points a while back, and I was like, oh, sweet, $5 off, and I stacked it with all the other ones I'd been saving up, and got really cheap stuff that way, which is good. And then obviously the Shin Mazinger Zero head. I will confess, like I normally try to be very cordial and polite because, come on, you can be nice, you can be polite, and I was a little heated when I sent some of those emails to those guys, which was uncool at the time, like 3 years ago. Hopefully they've forgiven me since then. But they worked with me forever, because again, it took almost half a year to get the parts, and it was fantastic. I couldn't have been any happier with it once they actually managed to parlay with these people and get me the stuff I needed.
Hey, I mean, listen, it stinks when you're looking for the part, but it's all fine once you get the part.
As soon as it's it. Well,
Yep.
unless you're really unlucky and X-Transbots sends you the entire torso assembly for a very convoluted robot.
We're not going to talk about that.
Like, I've gotten some crazy parts for repairs in the past, and I come from a mechanical background. I work in a refinery doing industrial maintenance, so third-party transformers, easy street. And I did want to call that out. I would be infinitely happy to help anybody with any repairs and stuff like that anytime. Shoot me a message or at me in the ShowZ repair channel. That's probably the way to go, so other people who aren't me can chime in, because I'm not always right.
Yeah,
but
we do have a lot of people chiming in there, which is great.
I know. I like that. It's nice that people are willing to help other people out. But if anybody's ever got questions for fixing stuff, I'm happy to do it anytime. My friend was making fun of me the other day. He's like, "Oh, the way you play with toys is you tear them apart every time."
But then you know how to put them back together when you do that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, like I'm notorious for like reversing ratchets and stuff, tearing legs apart because like the gaps are too big between the teeth or whatever. The spacing's wrong, so I'll just tear the entire leg apart and flip the ratchet over so it's still spring tensioned but doesn't have the ridiculously wide stance.
Oh yeah.
And
gotcha.
It seems like I can't buy anything anymore without tearing something apart. I got that X-Transbots youth stack from ShowZ the other day. Great figure, by the way, if you're willing to spend like an hour tearing it apart. But like I'd open the box, I spun the arm so it unscrewed, which is a notorious issue. And then I was like, okay, this is how I'm going to play with this toy today.
Yeah, it's, I see him swinging for the fences, though, so for me, it's kind of like all forgivable. Like, I'd rather see a company, swing for the fences and have a few issues than just go in that, really easy pocket.
Well, it's so easy to just, like, make something that people expect. Which, my second favorite toy is an X-Transbots toy, actually, which is a rare opinion. And that's Savant.
Oh,
their
yeah.
crosscut. I don't know if I have a photo of him in here, but...
You do.
Oh, he's there. He's there front and center. That was one of my original MP 3Ps that I bought back in the day. And then I sold it along with everything else. And I went, God, it's so perfect. And then I bought the official MP, and I was like, this thing is too restricted. It looks good, but it doesn't do much. The legs can't kick backwards.
Yeah.
It has no ab crunch, blah, 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 blah. And I rebought that, and it's still one of my very favorites. They miss sometimes, but they really hit sometimes, too.
Yeah.
I was looking at, actually I thought there was a bunch of random repaints of that mold. I think the
tons.
random Diaclone ones that were on the flash sale page, I thought for sure those were going to be in the community sale, because random XTB Scrimblow repaints are like the basis of the community sales. But I thought for
I would
sure
have bought
they
one.
would be. Yeah, I know. It would have been like 40
It's a
bucks
really
too.
good mold if the head doesn't like punch a hole through the windshield when you're transforming
Honestly,
it,
I kind of
which it will
love
do.
Taiho, but he's out of stock everywhere. So rest in
Yeah.
peace.
He doesn't have a faceplate.
That is
Oh,
our
true.
curse, though, right? Is wanting something and it's out of stock.
What do you do?
So hey,
Yeah, no-
I'm gonna thank at this point. I'm gonna thank you, JUNKMECH, for hopping on and sharing your collection with us and your expertise and being willing to help out if people have questions about repairs. Solus, I'm gonna thank you for jumping in and helping to make this more of a party. I'll thank everybody who was joining us today on the live stream and anybody who's checking out the video. And if you want to hang out with us, there is a link in the description. JUNKMECH, I'll shoot it over to you. Anything that you want to share that you're working on, or any last thoughts?
Well, you can always find me on, especially on Twitter. I'm active there. I have plans to do some MP repaints in the future. If anybody ever wants to pitch me ideas for cool things to repaint cheap toys into, let me know. But otherwise, I'm just, hanging out. I'm going to be going on vacation tomorrow, which is super exciting. I'm stoked for that, and happy to be around.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next time.